And hey, we're live. Hi, I'm Rand Hoppy. I'm the executive director of the Jack Kirby Museum.
And I'm Tom Kraft, the president of the Jack Kirby Museum. And we're with
Tracy Kirby, the granddaughter of Jack Kirby.
That's right. Tracy.
on her grandfather's birthday.
Oh, so great to be here with you. Right. So I'm gonna click. Here we go. There's Tracy Kirby. And so here's a recent thing that popped up on the internet.
I have it right behind me because I was I'm just we're stuck at home a lot right now, and I have more kid pictures up on the walls than I do of any like artwork up on the walls, and most of it's just personal stuff as well. So I actually pulled this down from our little attic because it was still in the original frame. I mean, I think from the 70s. So I pulled it down. It's still in great shape. So I'm like, I'm getting a new frame for it. So, and then I thought, it's like, I don't tweet much. So I just thought, I know people, for me, if I occasionally do send out something on social media, it's more of a personal connection between like me and my grandfather. So when I saw this, I thought this would be a great thing to throw out there if people wanted to see something like that, which is a lot different, So my kids thought I looked silly, so they started laughing.
Do you think you look like any of your kids in this image?
Hallie, my older daughter Hallie's, I can see a little twinkle in there of her. So she's got the same shaped face a little bit.
And was he using a photograph to draw it, or did he just do it?
He just did it. Just did it. Yeah. So and then I love the fact it's got the Disney connection because
I know
going to Disneyland, and I wound up being a character. That was my first job, was working at Disneyland. So little special connection there. So I love that.
So I just wanted to say that we are going live out to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all at the same time, and in the chat. In the chat windows, if you chat in any of those places, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, we will see them here, and we'll respond as best we can. We'll be asking for some questions from the audience for later on. So it's great to hear from you. Please say hello. Stefano Pavan in Italy says ciao, Tracy. So that's Stefano's been in a few of our events. So so that's great.
Has wonderful drawings of Jack Kirby, that's for sure. Stefano.
Yeah. What else was that? There was something else I had. When you put this up recently, or I found it on Twitter somewhere, right?
Well, it was funny because somebody made a comment on one of the other tweets about saying, did Jack ever draw you in anything? And I was like, aha, yes, he did. He did draw me in, around that time, the Silver Star comic. And so when I was up again, like in the attic going through stuff, but I have not the comic books, but I have those compilation books, which are great to have kind of in a library on a shelf. And so I saw the Silver Star, I pulled it out, I showed my kids, they laughed hysterically again at me. They were more hysterical about the dress that I'm wearing.
Oh man, yeah, of course.
And the fact that I didn't really have blonde hair, but I said, your hair's a lot lighter when you're a kid. So, so I thought that was cute. So I showed them and then put that on.
Yeah, that's cool. It was great to see. Oh, come on. How sweet is that?
See, your hair was blonde there.
So it's that dirty,
Or
I was about to say it's gotten a little darker. I'm gonna date myself.
Yeah, right. And this was something that your grandfather saved that you have, or
it's actually right up. Where's my finger? It's hard on the. It's right over there.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
So actually, my two favorite things, and actually, I don't Jeremy, I actually don't have a lot of, comic book art anymore, and or ever. So some of the few things that I do have are more personal to me. They were more personal to the family. So whether or not people consider that valuable, to me, they're valuable. Everything is. So some of these things, like this Boy Commandos advertisement, and then also right behind me, camera right there, that piece. Yep. These are like my two favorite things. I love Boy Commandos. I love the fact I think it was more of a personal connection to him in World War II and to him actually drawing. So this is like the only, from what I know, one of the only original pieces of Boy Commandos left. And that was the one thing that I will never, to me, that is my family piece. I love it. I don't care if it's, I just, that's my family, because that's the only piece of artwork I have really up on any of the walls, that and that Boy Commandos
it's great
advertisement. So I love it.
And this is a piece where the Commandos, or at least Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, are there in the panel. Yeah,
I think that's why it's one of the only pieces he kept, because he made it. It's his personal connection to it.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
I love it.
Oh, and you visited Stan.
Yeah, that was one of the last years he was at Comic-Con. My good friend, David Baxter, who's with Legion M. And David's known me and the family for a long, long time. And Legion M, and David's been has had a good relationship with Stan Lee. And this year, when Stan was doing a lot at the Comic-Con, he asked me, if I'd want to, just have a one-on-one and have just a great conversation with Stan. And we did, and it was so nice. I really have never had a chance to have just a sit-down private conversation with Stan, away from crowds and cameras and anything. So, and I think that was nice for him too. So it was nice to kind of just touch base and just have a great adult conversation about Jack and just the comic industry itself. So it was fun. That was nice for me. That was a fun and endearing conversation. I'll always remember that. And that was pretty much the last time I ever saw him in person too. Right. So that was, I'm David or anyone from Legion M is listening, thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
That's cool.
Oh, kick butt, huh?
Right?
I can't get me in a costume. Actually, my thing is, do you want to know who made these costumes? Not me.
I remember.
No, my husband made these costumes.
Yeah.
He's like a secret cosplayer, I think, by heart. And my kids, they're rocking it. Hallie's definitely more on the Hella side.
Okay.
She embodies Hella as a
man.
As an individual.
And so the girls have really embraced Comic-Con, and I think as they get older, they really have started to come to appreciate who their great grandfather is and how important he is to so many people, and how he's an inspiration. And I'm trying to keep passing that along to them, in regards to all the stories about him and the inspirations about him. And now that they're seeing his name more in the media and on the, whether it's the cartoons or some of the Marvel movies, they're finally kind of starting to, have big eyes going, oh my gosh, I have a family, like they're always so cute, because they're like, they say their grandpa, but it's like their grandpa's famous. so they love it, and then of course they love the fact that they can get their friends into Comic-Con. So
that's right.
I joke with people saying, the only perk that I have, that I have received, besides just, at least in value, to try to
I
work.
get it. No, I get it. Go ahead. Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? I have the one great perk of being able to enjoy Comic-Con, and be able to enjoy it every year with friends, with family. I love bringing people to Comic-Con who have had a hard time having the opportunity to go, who are true fans. Yeah. So it's made me feel really good to be able to do things like that. So we've really embraced Comic-Con a lot, and I love it. I wish I could do more for Comic-Con. I think what my grandfather knew how it was going to be. Yeah. I mean, I've been going ever since I was a baby. In fact, I think my first Comic-Con I would have been about 3 months old, I think, somewhere around there. So I don't remember it, but it's something that I think the only couple of years I didn't go to Comic-Con was when I was away in college, and I lived out of the country for a little bit, so that was pretty much the only time. So I love it. I love what I love what I think my grandfather and some of the guys in the early days really started. I think they kind of knew how it was going to progress, but they didn't really know it was going to be that, big. So,
did you hang out with Jack and Roz when you were there, or were you too young?
Every year, I kind of felt like I was their personal bodyguard in a way. Like I would always, especially with Roz, with my grandma, I was always like, I love to just kind of be there with them to help her and then to help him. And it was every year. I think when I was real little, Comic-Con was a little bit boring to me. So my parents we'd always go to SeaWorld and then come back, and then I'd always go to the masquerade ball with my grandparents, and then we'd always go to the awards ceremony. That was like our routine. We'd always meet up at the Marriott. I'd go to the pool. My parents would take me to SeaWorld, and then we do all the things with my grandparents. And then as I got older, I started to really appreciate and enjoy what Comic-Con was all about. So then I really started to hit the exhibit halls. I started to go to the panels. Yeah. I started to hang out with the artists. I wish I could draw. So Comic-Con for me has progressed as well. So, which has been fun. That's like one of my favorite pictures, by the way.
Isn't it great? Well,
I should be talking Hallie in here.
You'll always have a big space in my heart, because when I got the Kirby Museum going, and it was like, I'm a real nonprofit, and I showed up at Comic-Con, and you were like, here, I will loan you these 2 pages of Western art, and we still have them on loan. Like it's just like that. You were just so kind and welcoming to the idea that there was a nonprofit for your grandfather. So really appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, that's been my life. My career has been working in the nonprofit world in education. So I'm all there for you. So I love it.
And I scanned this at your apartment. Like, what did I say? 2008. Just this incredible pink war scene that
the colors are amazing. I don't know. There's something about the colors.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Really unique color stylings that your grandfather had. And then even before we were setting up, you were talking. You have that photo.
I have it. I'm trying to frame it.
But I did take a scan of it back then, and I think our hero is right here. But I did zoom in on him, so I'm pretty sure that's him.
Yeah. That is him.
You have to ask Jeremy about the uniform, because I gave the uniform to Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Cool.
This uniform, I don't even think my 11-year-old could fit in it. This is the tiniest uniform. Yeah. it made me feel horrible. I was like, I can't even fit in this uniform. It is. Wow, he was a tiny guy.
He was a tiny guy.
When he was younger.
Oh, there's a shot at a convention. Looks like at a convention or something.
Yeah, it was probably some sort of convention. It's definitely not. It is not at the place.
It's not a home with that art like that behind them.
Yeah, no.
Everybody's looking good, right?
It's dating me. It's dating me.
I'm not saying anything about years.
Great. It's vintage, man. It's vintage outfit.
Great shot. That's all I was able to grab off your Twitter feed.
I told you.
So it was fun because I was like, oh, she'll love that I'm going to show this to everybody. But what else? There was the well, I can get rid of the screen now. So what was the comic book men experience like? You were there. There was that Kevin Smith produced TV show on the Sci-Fi Channel, and you and Jeremy.
Yeah.
What was that? Was
it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew a little bit about the show, but they just it was all during the all the stuff that was going on for his 100th birthday.
Oh, right.
For the celebrations, which is great, and there goes the cat. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a big surprise to me. I've never done anything like that before, and it was really nice that that Jeremy and I had the opportunity to go and kind of represent the family, and it was a lot of fun. And the guys were great. It was funny. I was laughing hysterical when because they were like, we want to treat you like royalty.
Yes.
They brought out that ridiculous like horse carriage, like
right. Yeah, right. That's crazy.
That's like, so that was pretty funny. I felt bad. I couldn't stop laughing. And then the guy wanted to put like this big heavy crown on my head, and it was like how far.
Oh my God.
That was the one thing I said. Take the crown
right.
off.
Right.
No.
But you did wear a museum T-shirt.
I did.
Oh,
Yes.
Right. That was fun. Yeah, we had this.
I
had this
actually,
sign
I'm
release.
sorry. I was pressed because I was helping my kids with their school and wrapping some other stuff up, and I was like, and then I was trying to grab all these things, and I'm like, I gotta put my Kirby shirt on, and then I forgot.
Oh, today. Yeah. Oh, and who is this feline behind you?
Well, that's funny. This is her room, and that's Ginger right there. So
nice.
Hallie secretly opened the door because she was probably scratching at the door.
Yeah, no, we welcome.
They run the show right now, especially.
Yeah. We welcome pets and family members on the show, so it's.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
But what was the other? Oh yeah, what was and Antiques Roadshow? You were on Antiques Roadshow.
No, I know. You know what? I almost forgot about that. That's been like so long. Do you remember Roadshow was the hottest show on TV for like? We were so obsessed. What was that? The early 2000s or something. We were obsessed with the Antique Roadshow. We were trying to get tickets to go for. I think for a couple of years or so. It took, and we finally got them. And I wasn't going to bring anything. I mean, I don't need to. I don't need to know how much Jack Kirby art is, what they're worth or something.
Right.
And John has these really cool, like old antique chairs that his grandma gave them, and he always wanted. So we were like, that's what we were going to go for, was to bring the chair. And so I forgot some friends. So when we finally got the tickets, we told a couple people, and I remember someone saying, "You have got to bring some Kirby artwork, and you will get on the show because that is the coolest stuff." And so we were thinking about it. I'm like, that's cool, So I did. I brought, I think, I brought like a Captain America, and then I brought just some of the personal stuff that I have because.
Oh right, yeah.
So I think I brought I brought like a Captain America. I think I brought one of the Boy Commandos, and I did, not very big. I was like, I didn't like carrying it all around, and I think I brought a Sky Masters or something like that. And then and his little drawings that he did when he was still Jacob Kurtzberg.
Yes.
And the main thing that the producer came up to us. It was really cool to actually get behind the scenes at the Antique Roadshow. Yeah. I loved the whole process and how they wanted to ask more about the history behind your story and what, how you came about this artwork. And the thing that the producer really wanted to touch on and that she was really interested in was the fact that he changed his name from Jacob Kurtzberg to Jack Kirby, and she wanted to kind of broach that whole subject. So that was interesting. I don't really, we did talk a little bit about that on TV. And then of course I got a little angry, I forgot what the guy put a value at the end. And I think all of us were just like, oh.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, really? 20,000? No. Whatever the number was.
I know.
It was like, no. Twice that?
Yeah. In it, buddy.
I know.
So, but that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. Gosh, I honestly don't even know. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how you get a copy of those things one of these days.
It might be available on the PBS website.
Yeah, I gotta pull one of those.
I was so it would have been a thing to have popped it up right now or something, but we have. I was setting up 26 of these events, so I just didn't have the time. The Twitter feed was as far as I was going to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I brought this photo.
Oh yeah.
I pulled this photo because have you guys ever just being on my grandfather's birthday, and he would be really happy to see an image. Wait, where did I go? Of Scruffy.
Scruffy. Fantastic.
Do you have shots of Scruffy the dog?
Nice.
Oh, now you can see the Disney shirt that he probably used.
Oh, right. Cool. That's the actual shirt. Oh, that's so cool.
He dressed so bad back in the 70s.
Taste is weird. Yeah.
Well, I guess when you were an adult, for a kid, it was pretty bad. But,
yeah. So what about Scruffy?
So we called Scruffy the ugliest dog in the world.
Oh, poor Scruffy.
But he was very sweet. My Jack loved this dog to the very end, and we always just cracked up because none of the kids ever really wanted to pet Scruffy. And he always had really bad breath. But we love the dog, and Scruffy and Jack were like inseparable. Like that's great. So I found that. I was like, I said, for his birthday, I was just showed Scruffy the dog and everything.
Were there other dogs too, or was it that you remember? Or?
No, I just remember Scruffy. My Aunt Lisa, she, in the later years, she had a dog that she would bring over all the time, which if his first name was Cash, I think Cashmere. And they love the dog. I always remember the dog jumping in the pool and driving my grandma nuts. Right. The filters in the pool.
Yeah.
But that was his main pet. At least,
Scruffy. That's fantastic. And there was you spent a lot of time there. You were in the pool all the time, stuff like that.
Pool, I feel that especially for me and Jeremy, more for me because I'm 6 years older, so I got more time. We lived, my parents, we moved to Thousand Oaks to be close to them. So I pretty much grew up every week seeing them. That they were our second home. So I spent a lot of time I have really fond memories of being with my grandfather, sitting on his couch in his studio. He used to go over lots. We'd always used to talk about all the, just the different stories, and his, he loved looking at National Geographics. He loved, he loved the sci-fi pulps, and he'd show me like cool stories in the pulps. He'd show me, we'd go over like cool, cool history. It's probably why I got into really loving history, and especially ancient civilizations, because we loved talking about ancient Egypt and Greece, and of course Norse mythology, and everything that was an inspiration. I think a lot in what he did was all kind of there in different writings and books, lots of books, and we'd sell stories. He would always let me draw on his table, and then smile as I produced probably the worst drawings.
Oh yeah, well, Grandpa, yeah.
I joke saying I was probably the only person in archaeology who used to be made fun of for not being able to draw like little shard shapes or anything.
Yeah.
It's not storytelling. I say creatively, I feel like I've been inspired, and I can do like the programs that I developed and some of the story concepts that I've come up with for some of the things that I've done in my career. So I kind of use that as an inspiration. But
right. So
because when I have a story in my head, it drives me crazy because I can't draw anything, can't put anything on paper. So
yeah.
So I'm hoping my youngest, she's a pretty good artist. So we may just start letting her draw on walls. I don't know. That's kind of how it worked for Jack. So
did you ever see Jack draw while you were in the studio? Yeah.
I used to love, and it was a big deal for me because I used to try to stay up late because he worked in the late hours. So his schedule basically, he would start working late at night after, so he could be more with his family. Then he would stay up till 2, 3 in the morning. Who knows? And then I can't imagine getting that little sleep. And then he'd always wake up around. I always remember if I ever stayed at the house, he'd always come. He'd start his day like around 10, and then and so when I was a kid, and even later on in my high school years and stuff, I used to love trying to stay up late so I could be in a studio with him when he started working. And a lot of times, you just get into a Zen moment. It was really cool to just be on the couch or be in the room because that studio was big, and so you could kind of do your own thing and just kind of just watch, and then he'd maybe break into a story or a conversation, and then of course he was so amazing. I mean, he'd be drawing and talking about different things and still be able to do what he was doing. And he was always so good at being able to hold his attention and put you in the spotlight, and then still do what he needed to do on paper. And that to me was always amazing. And I think that's what people loved so much about him too, was that everybody was important, and everybody was special, and anything that people were talking about, he would listen to your conversation wholeheartedly. It wasn't just a facade. He really, and I think that's what I really loved about when I was a kid, being able to learn from him in regards to, how he told stories and how he treated other people. And that was great. So one of my favorite little stories that I wrote a long time ago was called like Keeping the Light On. And that was about me being able to try to stay awake so I could sneak off into a studio and just be there while he was, in his creative, world. So it was really cool. There was definitely a lot of just wonderful memories and moments, and things I hope I can pass along to my kids and everything. So it was great.
Any favorite foods or unfavorite foods at your grandparents' house?
Oh God. My grandma was not the best cook. I don't know if we all know that.
I heard you made good sandwiches.
He loved going to this favorite Chinese restaurant in Thousand Oaks.
Oh, cool.
We love going there too because we didn't like dinner.
I got you. All right.
He would always break out this oh God, it was borscht. I know it's gosh, I remember as a kid it was just horrible. And yeah, so no, it was we got very excited. They loved going out to dinner.
Okay, that's fair.
I heard he liked hamburgers a lot and eating at like fast food restaurants or something.
Yeah, I just remember we didn't. For us, there was the favorites. Bob's Big Boy. If like classic, I missed that. I miss Bob's Big Boy. Bob's Big Boy, Sizzler. Gotta love the '80s, and this Chinese place, and this other restaurant we used to go to all the time, which was the fancy restaurant. That my grandparents really liked to go to when it was, we try to come up with some excuse when it was a special occasion.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would do that, but we'd go to synagogue all together a lot. We just did everything. Every kind of family moment, they were there. Which was really cool.
And life at the synagogue. I mean, they were there, and I occasionally a new drawing will show up that Jack did for some program at the synagogue or something. I mean, it seems like
he would do like small little things, I think, here and there for people. Like I know there's a favorite that people like to show where he drew the thing with a yarmulke, and he used to draw Hanukkah cards for some people, and yeah, he was always great about if somebody needed something like a little special something, he just whip it out, and it was never a big deal. Like it was never like hey, I'm Jack Kirby. I'm not doing this for you, So
no,
and not ever. Even today, with the fame that he has now in a name because of the movies and just the way social media has been able to embrace what he has done. He'd be definitely the same person, the same heart, the same soul. He'd still spend an hour just hanging out and talking with anybody from
everybody,
yeah. He would need Roz to lure him away with. He'd be the one who start yelling at people like, "Jack's gotta go. He's dead."
That's right.
So, yeah, that's pretty much him in a nutshell. Yeah.
So, what was your grandmother like? She organized Jack and made sure he went to bed at 3:00 in the morning, and
she's already in bed there. Just like anything, Tom, the women really run the show.
Can't argue with that.
No, that's right.
Roz was definitely the grandma. She was definitely the matriarch. She was the rock, the one who kept it all together. And they were one hell of a team, that's for sure. And she was amazing with her family. Just everything she did. She just there was not a selfish bone in her body at all, as well as Jack. So they would try to do everything for anybody. Which was
do you have a good Roz story that you might?
Roz story.
I don't know. Scott asked. I figured I'd pass it along.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's a few. Well, there's. I mean, there's not really like a Jack Kirby related story, but it's like Actually,
No.
Grandma was with us too. I think they were all with us. It was a Disney. So here's a funny. So my grandmother's got she's got a really funny sense of humor. She's kind of done this twice now. She did it like twice later on. So I remember we were in Disneyland. We were, and I love this story. We were going on the Matterhorn, and we were going up the first part of the Matterhorn where you go up that really big hill, the incline, and we got stuck. So the whole thing just broke down, and we're like this at this huge angle. And for some, for some reason they wouldn't let us. They won't let you out of the cars, and I just remember, I remember my grandfather just sitting there, and then Roz just started. She goes, I remember her like, listen to this one, and then she just starts going, I'm gonna die in here. I'm gonna die in here. You gotta get me out of here. But she's doing it in a funny way, like. Yeah. And so. I don't think they let us out after that, but we all thought it was funny.
Okay, that's fair.
But she always had a great sense of humor. That she didn't take S from anybody, that's for sure. But right. But we had some fun moments.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's really cool. Do you have any? I'm just thinking about like my experiences with my grandparents. Like I would always buy, I would just buy these ridiculous presents because I was a child, and it was like I needed to buy Grandpa a present. And did you have any something like anything like that at all? Like oh, there's that time I gave him that cigar that he hated.
Well, the funny thing was back then. I don't know what it maybe it was just that time period, but for a long period of time when I was a kid, I thought every guy. So it was my dad and Grandpa, and like birthday, Hanukkah, anything. It had to be one of those big bottles of Old Spice. Like I know it. So I tell my mom, and she would give me a couple dollars, and I would get. I would do chores for this, and then I'd get the Old Spice. so nice about it. Like,
hey, Dad, here's some Thai karate. Yeah, no.
Every year, Old Spice. I would just.
Oh, really? It was just straight on Old Spice all the time. I just remember buying my.
I thought, and then of course I would always like my kids. We always, they would make him cards, or I would draw a picture. Because I knew my grandfather's an artist. He's going to love my drawings.
And he probably did.
I'm sure he did. He probably, deep down, he loved every single one. But it was always an Old Spice thing. My dad was always ties, like usual. And then my grandfather was Old Spice.
Got it.
So, I'll do that.
If you were to say like what your grandfather's favorite TV show was.
Oh, jeez.
Or the kinds of TV shows he'd like to watch. When you were around.
That's hard though, because back then he was on a different timeline. So I'd never really see him watching TV. Like I would always see him reading the paper. Like that was okay. That was his thing. My grandmother would watch like some shows at night, like Johnny Carson. He did like Johnny Carson. There was that one issue.
Yes, of course.
But so I never really, I never really saw him watching any kind of any normal TV shows because he was. I mean,
that's just kind of like a follow-up for me because you were with him late at night. Yeah. And he was drawing, and we've heard stories about the TV on with the sound off and the radio on.
Yeah.
So the station is playing on the radio and the TV is on, but maybe that wasn't happening because you were around?
Well, maybe. Honestly, I think there's also different like things that you remember. I mean, certain stories. Like I was only a kid, so my memory is probably a lot different than when someone's older or hearing a different story. So I honestly I don't even. I remember just my grandfather drawing, reading papers, and looking at magazines, you know, sci-fi pulps, and playing Star Wars toys with us when we owned, got the mecca of Star Wars toys when they started to send him all the toys. That was the greatest thing as a kid ever.
Yeah, that's great.
So
let's see. Hello.
Hey, do you want to come and say hi?
Come on in and say hi.
They showed you a picture of you as Princess Leia and Hela. So why?
Yeah, man. Everybody knows you already.
I get so embarrassed to like. I think we're all, well, I don't know. Some kids aren't. I hated being put on the spot.
Sure.
Like when my grandparents said, Tracy's a great singer. Do you want to hear her sing? And then I'd be put me on a stage, like when I was Annie, if I was Annie, I'd sing in front of thousands of people. It was not a big deal. But so there they go. There was my kid through the window.
Yeah,
oh gosh, what are we?
I mean, people are asking about pipe tobacco and cigars.
Yeah, actually, okay. So that actually, I mean, besides, so I never was able to get a pipe as a memory from the house, but that was a big memory for me, was smelling tobacco and seeing him smoke on his pipes all the time. And then as a kid, so these were always on his Tabaret, on his studio. These are the Doc Martin inks. I know we have others. So I was, allowed, I asked to have like at least one set. So they're all empty and dried out and dusty. But I love this. So this is one of my memories as a kid. And he always let me paint with these. So
he did. Oh, that's cool.
I got to, I love these. Oh, I loved as a kid being able to look at all the cool different colors and mix and paint with them. And this was one of my favorite things to do in his studio. And also the pastels. I love using those pastel chalks that he could use a lot. For some of his other stuff. And then the other big memory that I always used to do with him in the studio was we would make collages, because he was really big on the collages with the magazine and some of his work was beautiful. Did you ever scan it? They're really hard to scan. The
big ones we didn't really get to scan. I have a photo or two of some of them, like the clocks and the race cars. And the sculptures.
I don't know how he did it. It was so funny because I remember doing it with him, and I'd be like cutting out, and then I'd put it together, and mine would look horrible. And then he does it, and it looks like an art piece. And I'm like, how do you do this? We even tried doing collages not too long ago, maybe a couple years ago. A few of us, and we were, how did he do that? Like, how did you take magazine cuttings and blend them so amazing that it looked like a piece of art? And they're so hard to preserve, though. So we've got we're afraid to take it out of the frame, so I don't know what to do. But that was another thing too. So the inks, the pens.
The glue is brutal, so it just doesn't.
Rubber cement.
Rubber cement.
Everything browns out over the years.
Yeah. But that was amazing. That's what a lot of people don't know, is he did a lot of these other type of art form. I think probably just for his own
Yeah. I mean, it's been somebody described it as like he was probably doing the Jack Kirby version of a crossword puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's what it was like for him, just to take a break. And, you know,
make a masterpiece out of magazine clippings.
Yeah. Another big favorite anecdote about that was like somebody calling him up, and I honestly don't remember who it was, but they were coming from the city, from LA. It was like, Jack, I'm coming. You know, what can I bring you? And he goes, bring me some magazines. I can't do collages with all these knitting and crochet magazines. He needed race cars and scientific stuff, and it was just like the knitting and the crocheting just wasn't cutting it for him for his collage work.
Yeah, that wouldn't really do well.
I can't see it. But I'm feeling like we're getting to the end, and it's just been great. It's we're 45 minutes in. We've got your brother next.
I know. He's on a whole nother playing field.
He's got a whole other thing going on. Yeah, I know. He's got the packages and the book and the
website and the shopping. And sales.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
I'm the nonprofit girl.
That's right.
Occasionally though, like I do love to, I kind of do the same thing my grandfather did. A lot of what I do for a release is like in the evening is I'll pull away and just, come up with, if there's stories or things in my head, I'll sit down. And to me, that's like my, go-to release is just, just coming up with different stories and just writing them down, whether jotted notes and just that's kind of my, creative outlet,
Yeah, that's great.
So that's that's kind of I feel like that's a little bit of him in me, and that's the best I can do. So, well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I don't know if we've ever had that long of a conversation before. We hung out in restaurants and at conventions.
Over a glass of wine at Comic-Con.
That's right. Yes. No, that's great. We'll do it again.
Next year, and I hope to see everybody again next year in 2020.
Comic-Con. Yes.
Hope that's our year.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Everybody.
And thanks to everybody who's tuning in, and thanks for supporting my grandfather and everything that he has done, and thank you guys. You guys have been amazing for what you guys have done. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.